So here I'm gonna create something called I will call a package. So a package, what it is, it's a a way to separate and organize your files. Okay. So have you guys noticed when you imported something, for example, the math library, for when you guys did the Pythagorean theorem assignment, you have to say what? Import what?
Java.util.math.
Beautiful. Okay, so you guys remember. Awesome. Java.util.math.
But there's a couple other ways that you could call that too, right?
No, that's the only way to directly import the math class.
But you could directly import a specific class in math, though.
Math is a class. There's no class inside of that class.
You're talking about like the methods inside of it?
Yeah, the methods inside of it.
Maybe
if I wanted
maybe
to
you could
use-
say dot whatever method. But anyways,
Sorry.
for no, you're good. You're good. Maybe I usually just import the class. Honestly, I never just import this single method. Okay, but here we have. Okay, so what does that mean, right? This is where packages come in play. It's a way to namespace your classes. Have you guys heard of that concept, namespacing? Do you guys know what that is, or someone that has heard it? Do you know what that is? No. Okay. So namespacing is a way to organize your files so that even if you have a math class in another folder, they don't collide, right? Because I could create my own math library. I don't have to use Java's math library, right? My own library will do something very specific to my needs, not the general math library that Java has created. So we package in different folders. So the package that we have here is java.util.math, right? So what happens is that we have this folder called Java. Inside that folder, we have a folder called util. And inside that folder, we have a file called math.java. Okay? And even if I import math from another library, because it's packaged in this manner, I'm always gonna be able to import the correct one, as long as you write the right package name. Okay, so that's very, very important. And everything that you import or use in Java will have this format. So for us, we're gonna use a similar format too, because we're making apps. We want to be related to us or our company. Okay, so we're gonna use what we call the reverse domain name. Okay, you guys might have seen this around. So the reverse domain name is the domain name reverse. So we'll start with com, okay, and I'll do my company, which is Coding Dojo, and I'll say the project name, okay, OOP, okay. So there we go. Now I'm gonna create a new class inside that package called human. Sounds good? So notice that it's inside this package and nice and neat. So packages also play a big role on the access modifiers. Okay, this public here. So I'm gonna pull up some documentation here. Oops, I don't want this. Damn it, this is on video now. Thanks, Gabriel. Alright, so access modifiers in Java. Okay, and let me go to the documentation. Which one is it? No, it's not this guy. Oh, there we go. The Oracle documentation. Okay, so access modifiers are what we call public, private, and protected. Now, you guys seen it in two places. Where are those places?
The
Classes,
yeah,
and
then
the methods. So you can put a public, private, protected in methods, but in classes you can only say public or private. Okay? Now, this is what they mean by top level and member level. Okay? Top level is the class, member level is on the methods and even variables, member variables. Okay? So once you put things in packages, how they are accessible change as well, because they are in the same folder, essentially. So if you look at this table right here, if something is public, right, it's available within your class, You could access it in your package. Everything that you inherit could access it, and the world, meaning your whole program. Okay. Now, if it's protected, right? Class, package, subclass, but not your whole program. Okay. Private, then only within the class you could use it, and everything else you don't have access to it. No modifier is when you just omit it. That means it's what we call package private. So it's within the package. So you can see that class and package, and then no for everything else. So you always have access within the class definition, but changing the modifiers will change the accessibility of that file, or even the things in that file in your package or in your program.
So you don't write a modifier, you just don't write it.
You just don't put the modifier. Okay? So that's what I'll link this in the Google Doc as well, so you guys could have a link to it. Okay, Java December. I know this is running a little long. I promise it will be very, very short. Okay. Access modifiers. I just want to show you guys how to use the ID. Okay.
Can I ask a stupid question?
Yeah.
Why is all this information on Oracle's website? Is that
Oracle owns Java.
Owns Java? Okay.
So you guys remember Sun Microsystem?
Mm-hmm.
Oracle bought that company. Yeah.
Got
it. Okay. That's not a stupid question. That's a valid question, because a lot of people hate Oracle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the owner's weird.
All right, cool. So we have a class here, right? A human. So let's talk about OP a little bit, right? What does a human have? Hair color, right? Height, name, right? So I'm gonna create what we call a member variable. You guys might know as instance variables. Okay. So I'm always gonna make them private. Okay. That's just the way you should be coding. All right. You can make it public or protected later when you understand. But what we're gonna do is we're always gonna have a private, and we're gonna have something called getters and setters. Okay. So private name. Okay. Private string name. Private string height. Okay. And private string hair color. Let's just keep it as that. Okay. So now I could create getters and setters. So if it's private, I'm not able to change the name and the height and the hair color outside of this class. So what do I mean by outside of this class? So if I create a test file here, class, okay, OP test, and then I want this public static void main function, right? I could say human equals to new human. Okay, I'm not able to say h.name equals to Brad. Okay, and I'm gonna try to do that, but it's gonna yell at me. Okay, so this is the beauty of the IDE. Kind of tells me errors as I go. I don't have to compile it before it tells me the errors, right? So what does it say there, guys, for us?
It's not visible.
It's not visible, right?
Right.
Again, access modifiers. It makes the it changes the visibility of the things that we're working with, right? So I made it private. I'm not able to access that after. I'm not even able to print what it is, right? I'll still have the same error. It's not visible because it's private, and that's okay. Okay, but I want you guys to always do it like this. But if it was public, I will be able to access it. Okay. So let's do a constructor. So you guys remember what a constructor is?
Creating an instance.
It runs when it creates the instance. So I'll create a constructor here. Public human. Okay. So what a constructor is, it's just a function that has the same name of the class. So I'm gonna say, hey, system.out.println. This is a special function called a constructor. That runs on instantiation. It's just a function. So, but it's a special function. It's just a function that runs whenever we say this new keyword. Okay? So if I run this code, let's run OOP test, run as Java application. You see that it has printed, this is a special function called a constructor that runs on instantiation. It runs this function whenever I say new something, new human. So if I do this 4 times, it's going to print 4 times. Oh, duplicate variable. Besides that. Okay? Right? That's what a constructor is. Now, I could have an empty constructor like this, but I could also have something called overloading. You guys should have read about overloading methods. Okay? What is overloading methods?
You add more arguments.
Yeah, so it's when the method signature of the method is different. Meaning the name of the method is the same, but because the arguments are different, it calls a different method, even though we have the same name. The most common thing that you see when it's overloaded, and I think it's all languages, is the plus sign. Right? This plus sign is, if you guys think of it as a method, has the ability to add 2 numbers together, but it also has the ability to add strings together, right? A and B, that turns into AB, right? In JavaScript, it allows me to even add strings and numbers together, which I hate, right? It should give me you can't do that, right? But this gives me a string of 1, right? So in Python, you could add arrays together, I think. Maybe. Don't quote me on that, right? So that's what overloading is. Depending on the arguments, it does something different, right? So in here, I'll create a new constructor and I'll show you guys a shortcut. Command Option S or Control Alt S for Windows users. Okay, we'll bring this little window here, and I could say generate constructor using fields. Okay. So I just select which ones I want. I want all of them, and I generate. Okay, I'll just erase super right now. We don't need it. There's nothing that it's above our class, so we don't need to call super. So this creates a constructor function. So this says the user will pass name, height, and hair color, and I will set the name property to whatever the user passed, so on and so forth.
So
Now they're private, but I'm within my class, so I could access them.
So your test page will have access to that particular
To this constructor, right?
So you can change. You could then set
Values when I create it. So this one I'll just have run the original one constructor, but this one I'll have what is the order? Name, height, and hair color. I'll call Ken. Height is 5'11". 5'11". I'll just do it like that. And then what was the last one?
red hair.
Red hair. I like it. Red.
Nice color.
Okay. And then Kevin just walked in, so I'll do Kevin.
Oh, dope.
5'11" as well.
Oh yeah, in shoes I am, totally.
And then totally. Just kidding. Black. Alright, so I'll just have these 2, right? So how many, this is a special function called constructor that runs on instantiation, should I see?
3.
Well,
3?
it was handy, yeah, 'cause you have 1.
You're only gonna see 1.
I'm only going to see 1.
You have an error.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
We got a point because we called it.
I only see 1. Why do I only see 1?
Because the other 2 are the overloaded functions that only run
Yes.
the other thing.
Yes. Do you guys see a print here? I don't see a print here. The computer doesn't see a print there, so it's not gonna. It only prints this one, right? Now, can I see h1's name? h1.name. Would I be able to do that?
Yeah, I think so.
No, I won't be able to
Oh,
do that.
no, because it's
Still
not a
private.
function.
Still private. So we're gonna do something very special called getters and setters. So again, Command Option S or Control Alt S for Windows users, generate getters and setters. And I could select all. I always do it after the last constructor that I create and generate. And now notice that now these have public modifiers. So this will we be using to get a name and set a name. Okay? So here I call the get name method. Okay? Then I'll be able to see the information. All right? I could even set Ken's name to be something else. Set name, and it's void, so I don't need to print it. I'll change it to Zach, and then I'll print it out later, and you see that the name has changed. Okay, so it was Ken, set it to Zach, and then print. Now when I print it, Zach. All right, so. 1 second. This seems a little overkill, right? Like we're talking about trivial names here, but sometimes, right? Imagine if name was an SSN, for example, right?
Yeah.
Then I don't even want this getters and setters, right? I don't even want these guys, and I'm fine with not having it. I'm only gonna add them when I first add it to my database or something. But I cannot I cannot see it or something like that. Does that make sense?
So then
So-
the only point of having it is to create some sort of method inside of the human class that does something with the social security. If not, it's not even.
Yeah, it's not even
kind of
worth
pointless
it.
to even
Yeah,
have it, right?
yeah. So it allows me to have a little more power and control on the things that I want people to be able to see or not. And even the name here, right? Let's say that the user, let's say this is a human user for my website, right? And I have some validations, but they're able to add their names but not capitalize their letters, right? Then when I create a human, I could go to my setter and get the name and say, okay, first capitalize it, set this name's human to the capital version of what they gave me, and then save that to the database.
And you can
Right.
in your modifiers within your class, you can put anything you want. You could do private social security, but public name. Like
Yeah, you could. They don't all have to be the same. Servant?
So when you did the set H1 names, you changed it to Zach instead of Ken. Does it change the original one too that you declared the H1 as a Ken? So when you do dot set, it's kind of replace the Zach.
Yeah, it replaces can to Zach, right? Because if you look at the setter, set name, you're saying this dot name now is whatever the user gives me in this argument. Okay? Alright, so that's all for today. Okay? So you guys will be playing with IDE and then OOP.
Can I